Hello everybody, today we're going to explain the characteristics of living organism and organization of the organism, which is the first chapter in our IGCSE syllabus for the biology 0610 and 0970. So let us start by the first thing. There, Today we're going to learn about the characteristics of life. What exactly makes something alive? Okay, so now moving on to the next slide. Now what we will discover together the 7 life processes that makes anything alive. Basically, if you open your textbook, you will find these 7 life processes present: movement, respiration, sensitivity, growth, reproduction, excretion, nutrition. Today we are going to explain each and every one of these. So first of all, movement. Movement, it is the change in position. It is the ability to change the place or position of the whole organism or just part of it. Okay, so basically the organism moves, right? So basically if anything moves, you will consider it alive, but not all, okay? Because there are 7 signs of life must be present together in one organism so that I can consider this organism as a live organism. This organism lives, okay, is living, is not dead. So first characteristic is movement, and we told that movement is an action of an organism or part of an organism, causing a change in position or place. If you want to see an example for that, let us consider this example. Now for this part, you can see a cow, right? And this is a whole organism, causing a change in the movement where it can move its legs and move anywhere in the field, right? But animals is telling you that animals move their whole body, but plants move only parts of their body, like the branch, the stem, but not the whole. Like the plant does not lift itself from the soil and just go drink water. No, animals move their whole body parts, but plants move only parts of their body. Now, respiration. Well, respiration is a process that releases energy. And when I say respiration, I mean that respiration, it is a chemical reaction in the cells. And chemical reaction in the cells, meaning that it breaks down food molecules, mainly glucose, to release energy for metabolism. And what is metabolism? Basically, metabolism is a process carried in your body, breaking down a food that you had ate, like with your mouth, and that food will give you energy. Basically, like you are fueling a car, like you have a car and it runs out fuel. You will go to the gas station or the fuel station and you will fill that car with the fuel, right? So basically, doing this is one of the ways where our body can get its energy from. And the main way is respiration. So respiration, it's a chemical reaction inside your cells that is breaking down glucose and food into what? Into smaller sub-product and releasing you energy. Now, moving on to the third one, which is sensitivity. Well, sensitivity, it is the responding to the stimuli. Basically, when you are putting your hands or placing your hands on a hot object, you see that the stimulus of your hands moving away from the hot object immediately, right? This is because your brain is sending nerve impulses to your sensory neurons and to your hands to move away from what? From that hot object and prevent touching it again. And about sensory neurons, we're gonna explain this in the next coming chapters, but I just want you to grasp the idea of sensitivity, that you are sensing, that you have sense, that you can touch the object, feel it's hot, right? So it is the ability to detect changes in the environment and produce a response. And in the environment, like for example touching a hot plate, and the response is removing your hands immediately from that hot object. Now, growth. So growth is a permanent increase in size. If I have a tree or a seedling, that seedling will grow into a plant, and that plant will grow into a tree, and that tree will grow into a much taller tree. If I am having a baby, a 6 years old, by years he will have 10, and others will have 16, and he will continue to grow, and that growth is permanent increase. You cannot see, like for example, a 16 years old having the same length as a 6 years old. No, it's a permanent increase. It's a permanent increase in size, cell number, and dry mass. And when I say dry mass, is a mass without water, okay? Now, for reproduction, it is creating of offspring. Now, if I am having an mammal or an organism, okay, and that animal need to have more offspring. When I say offspring, I mean child, but in the way of the human the human mammal kingdom. Okay, the mammal kingdom or the animal kingdom, we say reproduction and we say offspring. Okay, now it is the process of what, making more organisms of the same kind, process of making more organisms of the same kind, and that when I say reproduction. Okay, now for excretion, it is removing of the toxic waste products of metabolism. When I say removing toxic waste products, like now when you are sitting listening this lesson, okay, you are breathing in oxygen and you are releasing out what, carbon dioxide. Basically, when you are releasing out carbon dioxide, this is known as excretion. You are excreting out your waste products. You are excreting out products that will harm yourself, that will harm you. Okay, and this might be carbon dioxide or even urea, which is then excreted as urine. So excretion, it is the removal of toxic metabolic waste like carbon dioxide and urea from the body, distinct from egestion. Okay, so excretion is totally different from egestion, which I'm going to cover in this video also in the coming slide. Now nutrition. Nutrition is basically obtaining fuel. You are eating. So nutrition is basically you are like eating the plants, are carrying out photosynthesis so that they can produce energy and so that they can produce their own food. So taking in or making organic compounds to provide energy for growth and development. So your plant is now carrying out photosynthesis, right? And that photosynthesis is being carried out for the plant to produce its own food. Or us as humans. Like for example, we open the fridge, we eat like for example meat, chicken, cheese and bread. Like these all are nutrition. You are obtaining food for you to produce energy. Now, moving on to the examples. So, examples of movement and respiration are, when I say that movement, it is the whole organism, and where like the cow or the mammals moves a whole organism. They move a whole part of their body, while the plant only moves part of its body. Animals move their whole body, but plants move only parts, and I had explained this before. Now for the respiration. Take this simple equation: glucose plus oxygen, which is will be broken down aerobically, will reduce for you what, carbon dioxide, water, and energy. Now third example is sensitivity and growth. So basically sensitivity is that when you touch a hot plate or a hot object, okay, or detecting a stimulus to show a response. For example, if you are sitting in a hot room that has no AC or no air conditioner, no window, nothing. Okay, so basically you will feel hot, you will sweat. So this, your body is taking a response towards a stimulus it had felt before, which is hot or air, like the high temperature of the room. Okay, now moving on to the next word, which is when you are feeling cold. When you are feeling cold in a place where there is AC, window, and everything that will make you feel really freezing. So basically your body will take action, like your teeth will hit each other. So basically you are feeling something, your body will do something about it, like he will let you feel. If you are cold, your body will let you feel a little bit warm. Okay, and if you feel very like warm, it will let you feel a little bit cold by using something mechanisms called homeostasis, which will be covered in other lessons but not in this lesson. Now growth is a permanent increase in cell number and dry mass. So basically you can see that cute cat here sitting, and now that cat had been grown. It's a permanent increase in size. It does not return back to its normal size. Reproduction is making more of the same kind or producing offspring. So basically this cat produces another offspring, which are small cats. Okay, so this is basically occurs by reproduction, making more of the same kind of organism. So basically more cats from the mother cat. Now moving on to nutrition. Nutrition, basically animals obtain compounds via ingestion. And when I say ingestion, is the intaking of food or taking in of food through the mouth. So as you can see that this fox is eating what, is eating the berries, and the plant make compounds via photosynthesis. So basically compounds like magnesium, mineral ions in the soil, or even like food products like glucose, for example, and it even produces other starch by translocation, and this will be covered in other parts of other lessons, but not in this lesson. I just want you to grasp the idea that each organism has its own way of feeding. Now, there's a big difference and something that confuses the students a lot, especially in paper 4 and paper 2. when I say excretion or egestion. So basically excretion, it is the removal of toxic metabolic waste products or substances found in excess out of the body. So basically when you are sweating, this is known as excretion. When you are sitting in a like very warm place or very hot place and you just want to sweat out so that you can cool your body out, basically this is excretion. But egestion is removing undigested food, but excretion is the removal of toxic metabolic waste products like urea, which is in the urine, or even sweating by your body so that it can cool itself. But egestion, it is the removal of undigested food. Okay, egestion is removing undigested food as feces. So when I say feces, it relates to egestion immediately. But excretion does not have anything to do with feces. It has only to do with two factors, which are sweating and another thing, which is what, which is excreting urea in urine. Now, this is Mrs. Green checklist. We had explained each and every question here. So we had explained movement, respiration, sensitivity, growth, reproduction, excretion, nutrition. This will be the end of our lesson. And just this is a quick like wrap up of what we had said. I just want you to answer this question in the comment section and tell me. I will tell you which answers you got correct. So the question is basically how many Mrs. Green processes you can spot. And well, that will be the end of our presentation, and thank you for listening, and wait me for part 2.